Here we are back again. Wednesday night of the holiday bash for AEW. Dan, three
Right, that's
Continental
right.
Classic matches. Now, I was thinking we could start off by talking about AEW
Okay.
because I was thinking about this today while my kids were sick and everything else was going to hell. Um, we've talked about this before, but I just wanted to see your thoughts. How is it possible that AEW has the size roster that they have, and they've not made one or two guys out to have a name stature like Reigns, like Punk, like LA Knight, like Jey Uso? Even we both can't stand him, but like Gunther. Do you think? Now, granted, I was thinking about this because, um, no big deal. I'm freshly renewed to Sirius XM for the Wrestling Nation 24/7 channel. So, um, when I'm not paying attention at work, that's what I'm doing. Anyways, but do you think how or here, let me phrase it this way. How much of it do you think it is the fact WWE has like a 30 to 40 year head start on this? Right? Because they have the history where they've been able to build characters and do things their way no matter how they figured it was going to go. They did it their way. And that's kind of what makes characters pop, right? Like you have to know where you're going to start and you have to know where you want to end it. And I feel like the repetition that WWE's had over the years has helped them. Good and bad, right? What? There was a 5 to 7 year stretch where Raw under Vince McMahon was probably the worst product all on TV. And Desperate Housewives was still on TV at that time. Like, would does that 10 years sound about right? Like 5 to 7 years of where
Yeah.
Raw just felt unwatchable,
No,
right?
it was terrible.
Right. And that's when it seemed that everybody faded to, well, let me just turn in on YouTube to see what happened, right? Just to get the quick clips and then they're done. So they could still
Hmm.
technically un, follow up until the big pay per views, whatever. The WWE network tune into that, whatever. But like, what do you think it is? It has to be more than just lackluster storylines, right? For AEW.
Um, I, I mean, I think that's like the biggest part of it. I mean, you're right. It can't be just that, but like that's got to be like, I don't know, 60, 70% of it, right? Because they get the diehards that love them and love their wrestlers,
Yeah.
right? And they're always going to have those people. That's they might have been trending down, but they've never gone below whatever a certain amount is. And I haven't looked at their statistics lately, but I'd imagine it's the same as far as like there is a floor for them that they're always going to get that floor. And that's the diehards that they'll always have because those diehards love the independent scene. They love the non-mainstream guys that maybe by default are becoming a little mainstream now, but they don't see them that way. And they like the product of it not being overly storyline driven, right? They like the matchup. They like the matches, not some of the BS. And then
Mm-hmm.
some of the BS is fun and that's great, and it's funny or whatever it is. But to get the rest, not even the casual fan, but of course the casual fan plus I don't know, maybe your typical WWE, maybe your typical Monday Night Wars type fan, like us, to a degree at least,
Yeah.
you've got to have better story to do that. So I think it's a big part of it. Um, After that, it might be that they have. I mean, if I have to think of like, let's say, three reasons why they're where they're at, or not where they should be, or where we thought they could be, or where they were seemingly going for a little while when they were a hotter product. I think it's the lack of compelling, consistent, compelling storylines, which includes the lack of having tiered storylines too, like these A, B, and C stories. They're also were very they seemingly are very short too. They don't do a ton of long-term storytelling. They've done it a few times, but they don't do a ton of it. I think after that, then the next thing probably becomes maybe their roster being so huge that they again that probably plays into a little bit of not being able to develop storylines. They're churning through so many people on any given week. You're not getting that. You're not getting super consistent. After that, I don't know what it is after that, other than maybe it's just some bad like placements, some bad, whether it's the time slots, the TV time slots, the locations, maybe the lack of some of the traveling live event stuff that they really don't do now. I don't know that. I mean, that's a big financial haul to do that week in and week out. So, but I don't know. For me, I think the storyline is I don't know at least 70% of it. I really do.
Well,
To
and
get
it's
past just the diehards,
yeah. Well, side note, do you know what Jonathan Coachman calls the diehards?
the sweaties.
The
Oh no, that's what we call them.
the sickos. He
The
calls them
sickos.
the
Yeah.
sickos. Um, yeah, because that's been a large discussion, right? Like it's tough because like right now I'm tuned in to see these Continental Classic matches, right? I I honestly think the Continental Classic is pretty cool. It's a pay per view or it's a tournament like March Madness that leads up to a PLE or a pay per view, right? So it's like
Yep.
like it's smart, like it's storytelling done by itself because you're tuning in for the subject of being there's a tournament. You're gonna see upsets. We saw upsets last year, but you know, like this is 1 week from now. It's World's End on HBO, right? So it's like
Yep.
that's pretty cool. Um, I guess, and I know people like to use the thought of like, well, you technically don't know what the viewership is for AEW because they might only have, say, 500,000 tune in to actual cable, right? But then those that watch the simulcast on HBO now, that might be an extra 300 to 500 to 700. And it's like, yeah, that's true. But like, if I'm watching that Continental Classic and they're looking at working in a Manchester arena that I know holds 6,000 people, and there seems to be a lot of open seats. My wild guess is things are not going the way that they probably should be going for ticket sales, right? Like, like just straight up the eyeball test. Like you could talk about the viewership. Now all of a sudden everybody has an issue with the Nielsen viewership, which is kind of funny because the last 3 decades every broadcasting company used that to get deals done. Now it's the Wild West for broadcast deals, and everybody's like, we're not using that anymore. So they're lying about something. But it's kind of
Right.
like,
Right. But I mean, also that potential problem exists for all the companies. So even by comparison,
correct,
even if the numbers are whatever,
correct,
they're whatever for all companies, and it remains that they hover right in the middle.
right,
you know,
right. I do think there's going to be fear the first couple of weeks at TNA for 2026. I won't be surprised if TNA's ranked 2 and AEW falls to 3. I have a feeling, right? Like the elite are coming out here for this triple A tag team match right now, I think. And Dan, there's nobody clapping for them. Now Kenny walks out in back of them and all of a sudden everybody's standing up. So it's like the Bucks used to be their bread and butter.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like that used to be it. That used to be what got people out of the seats. I do think a large portion of it is storyline, but now just like reading these articles that I read today about viewerships and just listening to the various sources on XM, it's quite possible 60% of this roster were the wrong hires. Like like they're just people that just they belonged on the indie scene because they were good. Their name did more for them to build the buzz than what they actually do when they show up.
Yep.
And which is fine. Like AEW told us before, like they're not concerned about viewerships, right? But if WBD is getting bought by Netflix, at what point are you going to start worrying when you know who is also on Netflix?
Yep.
And then think don't think that Endeavor or TKO will say, well, if you're going to put them on Wednesday nights on Netflix for a much lesser cost, have you thought about buying OVW?
Right.
And right, like WWE is strapped with here. You want to buy this instead of buying them, and that just leaves AEW in a world of hurt, right? Um,
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
like it's interesting because I've been trying to, you know, uh, I've been trying to like jump back and forth through AEW with the work schedule now, like dying down a tad bit. I'm able to catch more things later in the night, but it's like I remember, as bad as this sounds, and I'm not trying to get us called out on any scored circle post or anything like that. I remember why I stopped watching, if that makes sense, right? Like,
Yeah.
um, so yeah, it's crazy because like the TNA to AMC deal is a multi-year U.S. rights deal, around 30 million supposedly. R- rumor has it 10 million annually, so 3 years. That's not bad.
Right.
You know, I mean, what
Yeah.
like I know AEW's was over 500, right? But it's not like where's that gonna go?
Yeah. Yeah. You don't know.
No. So it's crazy, man. It is yeah, I mean, so it's crazy. Like, and I want it to be good because like my oldest is just starting to get into playing with the figures and stuff. So like, it would be cool to have him watch a decent amount during the week, and it would give be an excuse to watch more wrestling. Um, but it's just tough. So,
Yeah.
uh, yeah,
Like just in general with the ratings thing and stuff like that, just looking at it. So I don't know why this isn't here for Raw, but so here's some year over year comparisons for Q4 of 2025. Collision is down 28% from Q Q4 2024.
mm-hmm.
Dynamite is down 17%. Rampage doesn't exist anymore, but Rampage was down 32% in 2024 compared to 2023. NXT is down 15% from last year at this time. SmackDown is down 23% from last year. Now, for whatever reason, this chart I'm looking at doesn't have Raw, but Maybe because of the Netflix stuff. Maybe
Yeah.
because it's harder for them to know. That's probably why. Now that I think about it.
Yep.
So there's a trend for all of them related to cable, right, or TV, actual TV,
Yeah.
you know. But yeah, Dynamite AEW is suffering far more than, well, maybe not far more, but a little bit more. But let me go back a step too, because this tells maybe a little bit. This is an interesting picture. SmackDown has been down 30% or more, 30 to 36% all year compared to last year
Yeah. We brought this
in
up
the
on
quarter
the.
by quarter.
Yep. We brought this up on the
Yep.
last episode. Yep.
Now, NXT, which will not be a shock to you at all, with the exception of this quarter, has been up every quarter compared to 2023. Dynamite has been down less than they are in the fourth quarter, but 12% in Q3, 12% in Q2. Um, Actually, 24% down in Q1, but and then Collision is 20% down, 5% down, 19% down. So, I mean, there's a trend across all of them, and you know, Dynamite obviously has the asterisk on it because they started their simulcast on Max in January 2025, and they don't get that data for how many people used Max to watch it versus tuning into TBS.
Yeah.
So they are down from a cable rating standpoint, but maybe they're only a little bit down. I can't imagine, or even at best, I can't imagine it's more. But I wonder if they'll. That'll be the next thing to be interested to see. Like, when will they ever develop numbers out of streaming? That we don't get now.
Yeah.
But
So you'll hear this a lot from people like Dave Chappelle and Kevin Hart. The streaming sites don't give out the numbers because then they feel like they give you leverage when it comes time to negotiate your next deal. So like they give you ballparks, but you don't have the exact, right? Like they're not going to say like 250 million people watched your comedy special during this 2 week period, right?
right,
Because then at the next deal, you're going to be like, well, you just told me over 200 billion people watched this in a 2 week period. So that 500 for the total month. So then it's like, well, maybe this deal for 10 million should be worth 100 million if you're getting 500 billion people to watch this, right? Like it's all like a lot of these streaming services, I think, stay in business because they hide some of this stuff, if that makes sense, right?
right,
They're a very good
right.
poker player when it comes to this because then they know us, the consumer. If they say, "Hey, we're only gonna raise your price $3 this quarter because we're adding these 12 shows," and then it's $3 every quarter, so it's $12 for the year. And then next time they say, "Well, it's $5 a quarter because you love this so much and we're adding this again," so that's $20, and then they just use that, right? Like it's a
Yeah,
vicious cycle of how we're gonna get people to pay more. That's just kind of what it's been the last. I don't know. I don't want to, specifically put this up, but I don't. Uh, I think it's been that way since January 20th, 2025 is what it felt like then. That's when they kind of all started. If that date is familiar with anybody, but
yeah,
so it's just been, like what can you do? And I kind of feel bad, right? Because like we used to be so pumped for AEW, right? Like we thought the HBO deal was cool. We thought we were gonna get the free pay per views on this, like they did. And I think it's $30 or $40 now on HBO instead of the $5.
hmm hmm
Which I really think AEW is gonna have to go to the Peacock model, where it's just if you have HBO Max, it's included, right?
yeah.
But then
Well,
I
look, in middle of 2021, Dynamite was getting over a million people, watching every week, and then it slowly crept down. 2022, it hovered in the 9 to 950 range, and then 2023 it was at 9, and then 850, 870, 825, 810, and then now 2024 it just kept going down. So now it's back in the 5 to 600 is what that. Now, like I said, they want to make sure to point to the max stuff. I'm surprised there's not something. I was just looking too, like even though like Raw doesn't have true ratings, like they'll tell you they had 2.5 million views over 7 days, which at least gives you. Now I'm sure they won't tell you, but I'm sure they could figure out how many are repeat views, right? Like of somebody who watched it 3 or 4 times, if that's a thing. And but like I think that's fair to look at least a few days, because I'm one now that is more often watching it on Tuesday than I am on Monday night, depending on what's going on. So I'm surprised HBO doesn't have something they can add to that. But and also to make the point on SmackDown, even though they are down, considerably from last year, they're still well over a million every week. So, you know, I think it's at least fair to point that out, that even though they're down, they are still popular. So,
Yeah.
but yeah,
Um.
I don't know. But Dynamite's also, not super far behind NXT still. You know,
Yeah. No.
they're
That's why I said
they're
they're not.
keeping pace with it. You
They're
know,
they're they're not dead yet, right? Like
no,
it's not dead. So here you go. This is the last point that I would want to make for this. So HBO Max, right? It offers 3 plans: basic with ads for $10.99, standard, which is ad free, for $18.49 a month, and premium ad free 4K Dolby for 22.99 a month, right? And then there's bundles with Disney and Hulu and all that fun stuff,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Now just listen to this package. Where'd it go? So for anyone that has Hulu Live, they haven't been able to secure the rights, the contract rights for AMC. I believe because AMC is an add-on you can do through your Prime subscription. So you can add AMC on the Prime for I think $10.99 a month, right? Um,
okay,
which yes, yeah, it's between 8 to 9.99 a month, depending on what you want to do, ad free, whatever, right? So if you're specifically watching that, so if you're specifically adding it on Prime for $10 a month, that's $120 for the year, right?
yep,
Listen to this TNA Plus plan. The monthly, $9.99, full library, weekly shows, and exclusive TNA Plus live specials that does not include pay-per-views. The seasonal, $50 for 3 months, offering the same content as the annual plan during the period, includes pay-per-views within that window. Or here's this:
yep,
$160 for the year, including everything in the monthly plan plus all 4 major live pay-per-views: Genesis, Rebellion, Slammiversary, Bound for Glory, and the full library. So that, my friend, that's $13 a month. For an extra $3 of adding it onto Prime, you get all the pay-per-views, which are $40, $50 a pop, right? And that's the middle average price of what somebody has to pay to watch AEW if they don't have it in their cable package on on HBO Max. This is why I feel TNA is set up to boom. They took their time, they got the app right, they cleaned up the library for anyone that's been in there. It's very easy to use now. There's certain things that are hard to find, but if you remember like what specific time period of the batch, it makes it easier to find, or what show, it makes it a hell of a lot easier to find. But for $160 a year, so $13 a month, so one less Starbucks month basically, you get all of the programming plus 4 pay-per-views compared to HB compared to WWE. Now you need to spend what, $300 a month if it's not included, right? That's what ESPN is now.
Yeah.
330 something, I thought.
Yep.
I mean, based on that,
Yeah.
I would not be surprised if TNA takes off in 2026. It's
Yeah.
like they got the talent, right? We know they have the talent because you're gonna see WWE people show up on there. You know their first show on January 15th, it's gonna have WWE people. The top TNA star, I believe, and the champion for the X division, he's the number one contender for the NXT title. So right there, you'd have that built in. So who, for anybody that watched it on Tuesday, they're gonna follow up on Thursday to see if he actually does win the title, right? And it's set up perfectly that say if you have Slater qualify on Tuesday, very easy for the WWE booth to say, we'll turn in into Thursday to see if he can take the title from Oba, right? It basically writes itself.
Yeah.
They've, like, I know they took some crap for the longest time, but they've really narrowed in on how they want to practice business. And it makes more sense how they're practicing business than what WWE is doing with the ESPN app. Like, to me, right? And we've already heard, yeah, the deal might go sour faster than we think. We hear that it might not, whatever. We'll have to wait and see. We talked about that. Whenever you hear a story, you don't get it straight from the source. It's always somewhere in the gray area. That's what we both always believed. So it's like, you know, it's interesting stuff. But yeah, so you got top storyline. Leon Slater becomes the contender for the NXT title, which is awesome. He, so it's him and Oba, which we'll talk about Oba shortly. And then the other big storyline is supposedly Rey Mysterio to replace Penta at AAA Guerrero de Titans because of Penta's shoulder injury.
Yeah. Don't love that.
So that's going to be off the hook. But let's get to it with Saturday Night Main Event. The big thing, Saturday Night Main Event, Dan. The GOAT, John Cena, officially done.
You can no longer see him for real.
Or can we see him now that he's done? Like, was he invisible just because he was wrestling, but now that he's not wrestling, he's just gonna wear a suit everywhere and look like a insurance salesman? You know what I mean?
Quite possibly.
Um, Overall, let's start with, well, what were your thoughts on the um what were your thoughts on the card overall?
I thought the card overall was really good. I thought it was done well. We had a little bit of a preview. Cena in his interviews had been kind of saying like this was an opportunity to showcase talent and younger stars and the future, and I think that happened significantly. Um, I think it was not over the top, but it was very very apparent what they were doing there with um, featuring younger stars, and then post match stuff that they would do with them, and um so overall I thought the card was great. When we get talking about the actual match for Cena, like, I might have a different opinion than a lot of people, but we'll see. um no, but I thought in general it was really good. I mean, look at what you're looking at. Like, you've got Gunther and Cena, AJ Styles and Dragon Lee, versus Javon Evans and Sol Ruka. Like, or did I
Slater.
say Sol Ruka?
Yeah.
It's like Sol Ruka and Bailey,
Yep.
and then Cody and Ova, and it's like, so you've got, to a degree, old versus new,
Yeah.
old versus young, you know, whatever, whatever generation versus the new generation, right? Like you've got that across the board. And the outcomes, I don't think were anything crazy in those other three matches. Um, Probably predictable that it happened the way they ended and stuff, but they all gave that rub at the end to the younger ones, right? Um, and that's what I mean by saying like it was very apparent what they were trying to do there, and I thought that was a really good like exposure to for people that maybe haven't been paying attention or know, especially for me, like in general, watching Cody Oba, right? Like I think Oba just like immediately becomes like somebody on everybody's mind of like, I can't wait to see that guy, on Raw or SmackDown more often or permanently. And like, I'll go watch him in NXT too, on top of that, right? Um, and maybe a little bit for Sol Ruka too. But I mean, Alba is just a specimen. So it's going to be very interesting to see what they do with him post this for sure.
Um, when Oba walked out, my mom's thought was, "Holy shit, who's that?" That's exactly what she said.
Yeah.
Like he has
Yeah.
it, right? He has everything. He has
Yeah.
it. Like he has that almost cringe too goofy walk. One, anybody that size, nobody's gonna tell you that you walk funny. Right? Like
No.
no one's gonna say, "Hey buddy, can you cut the walk off?" Like he's 12 times the size of a normal human. It's not happening. Two, it's almost like it worked for him because every time he does the walk, it matches up to that certain sound in his entrance song. So it goes bar for bar.
Mm-hmm.
Would you have liked to see? I know this is due to time constraints, and this is me wanting every card to be 3 hours. Would you have liked to see that match go a little bit longer before Drew got involved to see what they they could get out
I
of
mean, I
Cody?
think in a perfect world, I think in a perfect world, you do for sure.
And
I'm fine the way it was, but
yeah,
I think, I think, yeah, in a perfect world, you probably want that a little bit more.
and
Look, what were the times on that? Let's see.
um, and how'd you feel about Cody getting busted open?
Oh, I thought it was fine. Thought it
That
was fine.
looked bad, didn't it?
Yeah. Maybe it wasn't super planned, but you know.
It didn't look the plan the way that like towards the end of the match or when they gave it to Drew and then they destroyed Drew when he kind of went like when he kept going like this, it's almost like every time he touched it, it kind of like affected his balance, so he had to go down to like one knee, and then he stood back up, and then he would like touch it again. So it's almost like his equilibrium was like completely off because of it, which is crazy.
Right.
Um, yeah, so it's interesting. It really is. It's. I mean, yeah. I just to be honest, I need all the Oba figures now. Just start printing them. Like, give me a basic, give me elite, give me like an ultimate edition. Just give me them all right now. He's it. He's it for the next 10 to 15 years if he stays healthy, right? Stays healthy and stays out
Does
of
he have
trouble.
any?
That's a good question.
I wasn't sure if he already did or not.
Yeah, he's a wrestling
Looks like he has his.
elite. Yeah, he has a
Yeah.
couple, but
Oh, as North American champion.
let's just put that the face they put on him is really not their best work.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I see it.
They try harder when it's actually like a top figure guy. So,
So we need some new ones.
yeah, let's just pretend those were practice and let's start over with the good stuff. Get the good designers in there, right? Like, um, but yeah, it's cool. It's just, it was a hell of a match. And then we went to Sol Ruka and Bailey. Um, she's another one, right? Soul has it, right? She understands it. She understands the camera. She understands how to look in front of the camera. She understands what to do. She understands how to sell. She understands how to help her person in the ring stay safe and still look like they delivered it. I mean, my dad brought this question up to me. Was this card everybody you see them bring up within the next Q1 of 2026?
Probably.
Would you
I would
bring
think
O?
so.
Would you bring Oba up that early?
Yeah.
I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I just if he doesn't drop the belt, I wouldn't. I would just let it.
Well, I think he'll drop the belt as part of it. I think they all, they might let him keep them. Any of these ones that they're going to bring up and leave up, they
Yeah,
might let him bring the belt up to begin, but then they kind of float for a little bit and then they lose it, or they lose it and then they show up. But I mean, look, Royal Rumble would be a good spot to feature these ones again. I could see that. Maybe I'm not saying he wins it, but that would be kind of interesting now that I think about it. Um, but you feature them pretty strong. Like a guy like Oba, I think you could feature pretty strong in the Royal Rumble as part of a little bit of a debut, and he could still be holding the belt at that point. Um, and then maybe he shows up a little bit, and then you know he drops the belt eventually. Maybe he takes his eye off the prize a little bit, and somebody scores a quick one on him, but then he's off to chase whoever he's chasing on the main roster, right? Like I could easily see some of that stuff. So
yeah. I think yeah. I would have wait to after Q1 2026. Um, but I I brought this up too on um a message board I was on or a thread I was on. Is there anybody on the main roster that makes Gunther interesting right now?
no,
I think Oba does that
yeah, okay,
because
yeah,
I think if you're familiar with what Oba does, which you got to think 50% of the WWE crowd is right, 50%, and that's being generous. I would say 50% of the fans that show up to Raw and SmackDown also watch NXT, right?
yeah,
I think people will be excited for the fact is they may be able to see Gunther get manhandled the way that he manhandles everybody else in the ring. Because he's not going to be able to pick Oba up for a power bomb so easily, right? But we know if Oba puts that chokehold on his throat, Oba's going to be able to throw him like a football. We see how high he put Drew up in the air, right?
yeah.
So like, um, and is there anyone you would throw Sol Bruca at right away? Or would you have her just keep partnering along with these veterans? Like
Yeah, I
Bailey
think you
or
probably just
Nika
partner
or
with some of the
Deki? Yeah.
veterans for now. I don't know that I see anyone specific. You
Do,
know,
do you think they bring up Zara with her on the side as her bodyguard? I think they're gonna.
oh, maybe, yeah,
Like, that's her
maybe,
protection, right?
yeah.
Um, I mean, Christ. And how good is Javon Evans and Leon Slater?
Oh yeah, super,
And he's.
very good.
Javon Evans is 21, I think.
Um,
I think he's 21
I don't
that
know,
they
but
said.
yeah, probably
They
right.
said it like 15 to 20 times in the match, so you would think I would
21.
remember. Yeah.
Yep.
Um.
This is 21.
Yeah, and he's already doing that.
He won't even be 22 till next April.
Yeah. Who would you like to see him with on the main roster?
Mm.
And I also have a hot take too as well for this.
That's interesting. I don't actually know who I would send him with. I mean, who I would put him with right off the bat. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't really thought about that kind of stuff, so I'm not sure.
Well, Dan, you're r- running a business when I'm playing WWE Universe and trying to beat GM mode. So we definitely have three different things going on now. Um, you know what I do? Bring them up with Street Profits.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Bring
Yeah, you could.
bring some excitement to them, and then they can go after the belt. No matter which show they're on, obviously, because we know there's no distinction between SmackDown and Raw right now. Everybody's going back and forth, and everybody's going back and forth from TNA and NXT, which I love. Which, side note, I hope we get TNA in the next WWE game. We should. I mean, WWE probably owns it, so 2K Publishing. You could just write me
Well, we
my
should. We
royalties
should
now,
certainly
and
get. We should certainly get AAA.
oh my god, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah,
I'm
I
gonna
mean, you're more likely to get AAA than you are TNA to start, at least,
I'm gonna need a week
because they
PTO, Dan.
surely own AAA. Yeah.
I'm gonna need a week of
So
PTO.
that'll be crazy to see how they do that, with especially with the difference in the type of wrestling you get in Mexico and how they account for that in these matches or in the game matches. You know.
Yeah. Hot damn.
Yeah. I mean, I think you're more likely to get that over TNA. I think you get some TNA people, probably an expansion pack type stuff,
Yeah.
season pass stuff. Probably get some, some TV sets and ring stuff. Maybe. Um, but I don't think it'll be a full part of it yet. I think it'll be like add-ons and or like unlockables and future downloads and things like that. But I don't see any reason why um, AAA wouldn't be a part of it.
Hot damn. Yeah, I'm gonna have to schedule
Especially if you think if they do like the whole like my world like deal where you walk
the
around
island again.
the island type thing, right? Um, and in that case, like if you do that, like do you add a whole section of an island or whatever they do this time? Maybe it's not the island of relevancy this time, but do they have a whole trip through Mexico wrestling and AAA? I don't know. There's a lot you could do, but
Um, Side note: this is how long I've been around. Or does Samoa Joe have the? I know he has the World Heavyweight Championship, but does he also have the Tag Team Championships?
I think it's the trios one that
The
they have. I
trios.
think I don't know off the
Two
top of
belt
my head, but
Joe.
I think so.
Two belt Joe. Very cool to see him out there with belts. Congratulations, Joe. You deserve it. You've been a worker for that company for some time now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he is a world trio champion, but I have no clue with who right now.
Looks like
I can
Hobbs
find out.
and Taz's son, Hook. I think.
Yes, the Ops. They're called Samoa Joe, Powerhouse
Nice.
Hobbs, and oh no, Shibata. It says. I wonder
Oh, okay. Yeah.
if Hook just kind of hangs around.
Yeah.
They won it back in April.
Interesting. Contract signing between Joe and Hangman. Um, You know what one thing is killing this company? Cowboy shit, as they like to say.
Yeah, we should. Yeah.
That's what's killing this company. But anyways, yeah, Javon Evans and Leon Slater, if I remember correctly, right off the bat, 2 super kicks knocks them outside the ring, and they both go flying over the ring. They were 100 miles a minute since it started. Um, yeah, it's just insane. And then I think AJ took a 450 by Slater, and then he came back with the forearm. Uh, and then obviously afterwards, they all, AJ and Dragon Lee won. They all kind of congratulate each other and put their hands up. It's kind of what they wanted to see. It's it's beautiful storytelling. Like that. Like if there's a picture perfect of like what a wrestling match should be, this whole card
Yeah.
has been it. Um, the main event, Gunther, everybody's second favorite Austrian versus John Cena. Um, I'll let you go on this one, Dan. Tell me what your thoughts are that were different than everybody else's that you think.
Well, just different from what a lot of like
Yeah,
fans online and certainly right after the show. I actually loved the ending. I thought the ending was almost poetic because to me, like if you take away this like childish like thought that like he has to go out on top, and if you think about what he's been talking about all year, is whether it's been in character or in interviews outside of being in character, right? The main theme he has talked about is he wants to do this forever, but he will only do this for as long as his body allows, and he's already a little bit past that point. And he has enough to finish this year and dedicate a full year to it, and then he's gone from wrestling in the sense of he will not wrestle again, right? Like, and he's not coming back in 2 or 3 years for another retirement tour, right? So to me, the tapping out is symbolic because he is literally tapping out because he probably could do this for a couple more years. Not necessarily at the top of his game. He's not in his prime, certainly, and he knows that, but he's still very good for what he has always been. But he is literally choosing to step away and tap out from doing it and not push it like a lot of other wrestlers have. And I don't know. I have no, maybe there's been rumors out there or whatever. I hadn't seen any of that. The minute I saw it, I just like, it was my immediate thought of like, this is not him losing a match. This is him symbolically leaving wrestling and tapping out to do it. And it just happens to work too because Gunther has tapped out a few people and choked out a few people. And instead of the arm falls the third time, we're going to do that. Like he's going to choose to give up. He's not going to necessarily lose in that sense. He's choosing that because he knows it's over. I don't know. That's how I see it. Maybe I'm looking at it way too deep. But for all these people that were booing this ending and all that, like I didn't like that it was Gunther. I still don't like that it was Gunther. The match did not change my opinion that it shouldn't have been Gunther. But the way it ended, I thought was perfect. I thought it was exactly how it should end. I would not have a week ago, I would not have told you that that's what I thought the ending would be. But once I saw it, I was like, that's exactly how it should have been. So that's just me. All those people that booing to me are idiots. Like, because you're not looking deeper into what this whole year was about.
yeah, and he kind of voiced us on that, right? Um,
Right. Right.
so have you seen his Instagram? Seen his Instagram?
No.
All right. So, let me pull that up real quick. Um, so for anyone that follows Star Wars, 1977, Do Hope, right? Obi-Wan basically fights Darth Vader because he stares at him and he kind of gives a smirk himself of like, he knows he has to take himself out by fighting Vader because the kid's going to come along and beat Vader, right? It's funny that Cena posted this today, I think, or yesterday. Yeah, yesterday. Because to start the Tuesday Busted Open show, Bubba Ray gave this exact reference to this being exactly what happened on New Hope in Star Wars. He gave that Cena was the Obi-Wan. He understood he had to sacrifice himself because WWE has a kid coming along the way that's going to be able to put Gunther out to pasture like Gunther has put out Goldberg, like Gunther has put out Cena. So it's actually kind of funny that Cena may have been tuned into this and posted this on his Instagram. Um, yeah, I had to sit and think about it a little bit. I don't know if he slowed it down, but when Punk got into the ring, he seemed to give Triple H like a weird look, and Stephanie kind
Laughed
of
at him. I thought I read like that he kind of laughed at him.
yeah, and then
He
Stephanie
was
said
getting
something,
booed.
yeah, so that was kind of funny. Um, but yeah, he turned into Super Cena, and the smirk was kind of him telling us there's nothing left in Super Cena, right? Like that was kind of like he knew I had to sacrifice this, right? In the long run, did I want it to be somebody else? Yes, I wanted it to be Joe Hendry. To be honest with you, because think how white Joe Hendry is now, starting at Raw in 20 or starting in Raw or SmackDown 2026, since he's a WWE guy now. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like
Yep.
it's nuts, absolutely nuts. Um, yeah. So overall, it was the perfect ending to the perfect show. I would say. I think I think the fans were just stuck in the fact that there's no more Cena. Um, I mean, trust me, there's a ton of shit that we could boo Hunter for over the past year, over the past 2 years, right? Like, why is Judgment Day still together, right? Like, where have the Street Profits been? Like, why did you tell Dom it's okay to walk around with that mustache on his face that he has to stay 200 yards from an elementary school, right? Like, it's like things like that, Hunter, of like, let's get it together backstage. Um, or why is Jordan Grace still on NXT and not doing anything, right? Like what are we doing? But it's yeah, it was the perfect ending, I would say for sure. Now the
Yeah.
carry,
I just thought it was so symbolic. Like
yeah,
I just think
because he said
I'm just
goodbye in his way,
surprised.
right?
Right, and I'm just surprised more people haven't picked up a little bit on that of like what that really was meant to symbolize. At least, I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy, but like you know, it just seemed like very obvious to me. Like that's what he was signifying there.
Yeah, yeah. No, it was his way of saying, "Hey guys, I'm done." Right? Like you know what I mean? Like you can't really um you can't really like I don't know. It's nothing against Hunter. I think this was just the internet being mad out loud because their childhood is over.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like I think that's what it is. Um, but I did like the line that sports entertainment died tonight and professional wrestling took over. I think Michael Cole had it or something like that. Oh, and MJF is back now too.
Oh yes, I read some spoilers on this, so I knew that was coming.
Oh, and he's signing a contract as well.
Yes, he has that casino chip.
Yeah.
to cash in.
Perfect. Well, shall we talk about Raw now?
Yeah, let's do it.
Is that the hottest 15-minute start of Raw that we've had in the last decade?
Probably, honestly.
Was there anything wrong with what happened to you? Or sorry,
No.
is there anything? No. I have one cringy thing.
Okay.
I'm okay with Gunther walking through. Well, let me start off by saying this. I don't think they should give Gunther the gimmick of the legend killer, of him being the guy that retires everybody. I just don't like that for him because I think after a while that just gets stale, right? Because what are you gonna do? He retires Ray too, so you think next year it's the last year for AJ. We saw the face to face with AJ already
Yep.
when he said, "Hey AJ, you can't see me," and then he drove away. Is he gonna retire Ray as well? We all know Ray is a broken down body of himself, so that match is not gonna be good. Ray versus Brock, or sorry, Gunther versus Brock. Cool.
Yeah, this is why I didn't want it to be Gunther and
Right,
Charlotte
like
because I wasn't sure where you were going with it. But
right.
this is the only place you can go. He's going to beat up on a bunch of legends slash soon to be legends slash fan favorite older wrestlers, and he's going to continue to do that for a while. I think it is going to be his own version of Legend Killer in a way, and a little bit of it's probably going to be a mix of like Randy's Legend Killer and then Roman's, I beat the Undertaker, right? This is my yard now type stuff, you know.
Yeah,
Meh.
yeah. I don't like.
I don't, I don't want to see it, but that's why I didn't want him.
I don't like that aspect of it. Um, and also he walks by Otis. He walks by R-Truth. He walks by Tozawa. I think in the back, whatever. Kind of blows them off to say they're not on his level, which is fine. I get it. Gunther's held the title multiple times. He's a top tier guy to them. Those guys are not on his level. If he's supposed to be the big bad legend killer, said that John tapped out like a bitch on the Saturday night main event. What authority does Adam Pearce have to come up and just emasculate him face to face? And there's no consequences. He just kind of yells at him as like you're putting a kid in timeout, right?
Right.
I would have fixed that by saying, "That's how you feel. That's how you feel like you can walk around now." Well, you got a match tonight. No disqualification match versus Jimmy Uso or Jay Uso, right? That's what I would have done. And then if I'm Gunther, I would have turned it back on him just to gain the leverage back of how that look and say, "Who are you talking to? I only wrestle when I want to wrestle." And he continues to walk out of the building. I feel like there should have been something there from both sides to kind of bring it full circle. Of now, Gunther feels like he's the guy that's at the top of the company without the belt. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, and then Pierce be shocked that Gunther says, "I only wrestle when I want to wrestle." Right? Like that type of thing. Other than that, based on the crowd, I think they feel like Gunther has a rocket ship taped to his back.
Yeah, probably.
Right? Like,
I mean, you don't waste. I mean, it has to be because you don't have him retire John Cena if you aren't planning on doing that, right?
so what? So
Right.
what belt do you think it is?
I don't even know for a while. I mean, I'm trying to think when Randy was doing it, he wasn't even really chasing a belt, right? Now, when Roman did it, he was sort of chasing belts, but not all the
Randy
way. Like,
Randy just did it because he felt like he was better than everybody else that was getting the
right,
shots he wasn't getting. Like he felt like
right,
WWC disowned him rather than like his behavior was the consequence. You know what I'm saying?
right. So that's what I'm saying. Like, he wasn't necessarily turning that to a belt. Uh, and I don't know if Gunther's ends with a belt. It might, right? Like, I don't know. Maybe Punk or Cody. Well, it would have to be Punk or Cody in that sense. Like, but maybe Punk, right? Because Punk can qualify in a way as a near legend for WWE now, and so you could see that for sure, where he takes it off of him at some point and puts him down. After he runs through some other guys. Maybe he can have another like. I mean, didn't him and Cody do one of? Wasn't it him and Cody for one of the Saudi Arabia the Crown Jewel belt, right? When it's champion versus champion.
Well, and it brings it full
Um,
circle because it was Gunther and Cody in the final of the Royal Rumble, and we're approaching that again.
right. So you know, I guess you could go either way on that, but I'm not sure when. I mean, what's the rumor that he's going to retire Brock at SummerSlam, right? Because it's in Minneapolis. Is that correct? Is that
Yes.
right? Yeah, Minneapolis. It's the first two-night SummerSlam, right? So, um, like that's the rumor that Brock is going to be. It might be the end for him. So, I don't know that he's going to go for a title before then. I mean, maybe. I guess that's 8 months away. So, or a little over 8 months, but so I guess that's possible. But I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Trying to think.
I mean, too, Punk, right? Like Punk defeated Gunther, right, to get the belt originally, and then right before the Seth cash in. So does Gunther want to get that back on Punk? I mean, I guess. I mean, there's definitely a bunch of ways they could go, and they do a good job of leaving their options open a lot of times. So I don't know.
So my first thought is Gunther wins the Rumble again, and he goes after Cody because I think we're gonna get this Braun Punk stuff for a while.
Hmm, yeah,
Right.
maybe. Yeah.
And then does Cody step away? Like, do you think he drops on the first attempt from Gunther, or do they make Gunther hunt?
Gunther probably hunts a little. I don't know what's coming up with Cody in general, but I don't know.
What do you consider a little bit of time?
Well, you got to think like it seemingly makes sense that him and Brock is going to be scheduled for SummerSlam. So I guess it won't matter if he has a title because I'm sure he's going to win. I can't imagine. Well, I don't know. Maybe Brock will win, but also I don't really. I'll have the same thought about that as I did with Cena. Like I won't really understand like Gunther beating Brock either, but I just don't understand what it's doing here. But I don't know. Then I don't know. Probably WrestleMania. Honestly, I mean that's only April, so probably WrestleMania is when he gets into the. I mean, under your theory, if he wins the Rumble, then it's definitely going to be WrestleMania.
Yeah.
So, and then Elimination Chamber to decide who goes after the next belt, the other belt. So I don't know.
Yeah. It's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's just crazy, man. It's just downright crazy. Let me see what the results. And then, you know, I know that was kind of like the big thing of the night was that 15 minutes of Gunther going back and forth, doing what he had to. We also had the Usos back as a tag team beating the New Day. So 2010 me was very happy about this, which seemed cool. Maxine Dupree defeated Ivy Nile to keep her IC title, which Maxine Dupree has to be most improved wrestler of the year for the last 4.5 years. Like if you told me
Yeah.
last year she would beat somebody by a submission, there's no way that I think it happens. We had Stephanie Vacquier and Raquel Rodriguez kind of end in a no contest because of Nikki Bella. On that thought, did you think we would end up? Are you thinking we're gonna end up with a triple threat on that one?
Yeah, I think so. Probably.
Um, and Logan Paul defeats Rey Mysterio, and then the Masked Man. Dan, the Masked Man is revealed,
The Masked Man. Yeah.
and once again, the Botch Wrestling Podcast was correct. We called it out. I'm a little sad it's not Montez Ford, but it's Austin Theory with a peach fuzz beard that only grows on his chin.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts? Do you think Paul knew all along? Or you think this is Paul playing cover?
Um,
Well, yeah. What are your thoughts about
I
that?
think he knew all along. I
Is you
think he knew
think he's
all
a
along.
full fledged member, or is that his way to get back at WWE? And where do you think he goes with this group?
I have no idea where it goes. It's like this group like has to me forever had a weird freaking dynamic, you know. So I have no idea where this goes. I really don't.
Um, trying to think. So you have the two powerhouses, Braun and Bronson, right? Austin
Yeah.
Theory is he's also built very well, right? Logan Paul has been putting on weight, as he said on his podcast, because he realized him falling hurts less if he has that extra padding. If you're Paul, do you take this in the new age evolution stage? All of a sudden, they show up with Austin Theory next week on Raw, and they're all in suits because they already all get out of the big Tahoe or the
Yeah.
limo,
Yeah,
right?
probably, but like I want to know what his role is going to be. Like that's the part that I don't understand, you know.
Well, that's part of it, right? Because if Paul knew, it's another credit to Paul that people could say Paul always has an ace under his sleeve, right? Like Paul always has the get out of jail free card somehow. That's just how he is. He always figures it out. Um, but I I'm also worried because of how it fell apart between Austin Theory and WWE. Does Austin Theory come back and say he's using this as an opportunity to get back at all the top talent at WWE because he feels like he was done wrong? And do you think we will hear from Austin? because Braun is already talking. Logan can talk on a mic. Bronson can talk when he wants to. So there isn't really a need to put Austin on the mic, right? If you think about promo skills, he's fourth on that, right? And that's not including Paul.
Yeah, I think he does talk. I don't know why he wouldn't. So yes, I think he does.
I just got a feeling like he doesn't talk starting off. Unless if Paul knows about it and this is Paul playing a fast one over everybody again, then yes, I think he doesn't talk. If Paul truly didn't know about it and Austin Theory saw this as a way to get back at WWE and all the top talent, then I think he talks because he has to explain why he did everything. Because then we get a face to face starting off Raw on Monday between Paul or between the three members of the Vision, Paul and Austin, right? I think then there's a conversation that gets set out in public.
Yeah.
But now this is counterintuitive, right? Because Punk wants Austin, Braun wants Punk. So now Punk has to go through Braun to get to Austin in an indirect way. Because Braun's next week, right? Next week, Monday.
Yeah.
Because it's supposed to be the Buffalo show.
Yeah.
So here's the take that a lot of people on Reddit told me was stupid. Dan, I would have revealed Austin as the reason why Punk gets beat by Braun, or reason why the match ends in a DQ and Punk wins that night. I don't do it a week early.
You think?
I don't see how it adds to anything a week early. It's a Brooklyn show where you get Braun and Punk. Punk's already talked about how stupid Braun's family is. Braun's already said he's gonna steal Punk's wife. You already had that real life. Sounds like it's getting personal. So it's Punk said if you talk about my wife one more time, I'm gonna rip out your eyeballs and piss on your low IQ brain. Right?
Oh yeah.
It got rough to the point like it was kind of like, oh damn, like did Punk not like this, and this is Punk's way of reminding the young gun to stay between the lines here, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So it's interesting on that point, but I don't know. I just think they did it a week too early. Like,
Maybe, but I feel like they wanted to get it out before this break. That's what I think I said last time too. Like
yeah,
they just, you know.
yeah, that's fine. I get it. I just think it adds a little bit more issues to what they're trying to do with that match. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um. So yeah, so that's pretty much everything on Raw. We spoke about Gunther. We talked about Cena. Got a little AEW in there. Other thing, Vince McMahon to enter pre-trial program in reckless driving case.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. Mashed into that one woman, right?
Wrecked his Bentley and two other cars. The state police said.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Good for him.
And
Fighting his cases on all fronts.
yeah, some we definitely know he's guilty of. Um, I want to see something real quick though. To end the show, Dan, since we're an hour and a half in, I think. you since it hasn't really been talked about, do you want to take some guesses at what the rest of the 2026 Hall of Fame class is going to be?
Oh,
Because the only one we technically have now is Stephanie. There's rumors out there that Jericho has signed for a retirement run.
for this year's deal, though?
Huh?
For this year's Hall of Fame, though?
Supposedly, that's what the one rumor is out there. That's part of his like.
That's a quick run.
Yeah, they said it's like a short run, but that's why I had to be honest. I don't think we're getting him anymore. If he doesn't show up at the Rumble, I don't think we get him anymore.
You think?
Yeah, I just don't think we get him. Not this year.
I mean,
But any thoughts?
do you put Cena in?
I mean, that's kind of like Derek Jeter, right? Like that's the unanimous. He's the.
For sure. It's just
Do
you
you
right now.
make an exception, or do you make him wait? Right?
Well, I don't know. I mean, they don't have any real like rule, right?
Yeah, it's
Like,
not like the NFL where you can go and pop out 12 kids and then come back when your insurance is about to retire. Um,
so I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I wonder. I'd probably do it. Like, why not? You know. Um,
I have a take for you on one specific name. Let me know your thoughts on this.
right.
Brian Pillman. His son can induct him because his son is
Oh yeah.
Lexus King.
Posthumously. Yeah.
Obviously, we
Yeah.
know Brian had some problems, right?
Also true.
But
Could do that.
his kid's been
Uh,
so good at NXT, I think it kind of helps clear the father's image.
yeah. I think you could do that.
Also, what about the only person that should ever say the title of War Games? Do you know who I'm talking about?
Wait a minute. Say it again.
So there's only one person that should be cornered backstage to ever say War Games. Do you know who I'm talking about?
Or William Regal.
Yes. He's back.
He's not in it.
No.
Yeah. Yeah. You could do that. You could do that. Um, I mean, I'm trying to think too because like they mix and match it a little bit to not have too many like huge names, right? Like, and you've already got a pretty big name with Stephanie, so.
Yeah, but I don't think Brian's on that level. Well, to us
Well,
he
I don't
is,
think
right?
Brian is, but like, um, Cena. If you're doing Cena, like Stephanie and Cena is a lot already at the top. If you were doing John, so
Yeah.
I mean a lot at the top there.
Some fans have been chattering for Jim Johnston to do it. He's done over like 1,000 music pieces for the WWE. So to give them like a creative like name to throw in there,
Yeah,
right?
well they have the right they have the like um hold on I gotta see because they have all that different kinds now. So the way they do it now, right? We have um they'll do individuals that sometimes do a group. Now they started doing the immortal moments. They have legacy inductees, which are usually ones that have passed on.
Mm-hmm.
But then they also like will have your like either I mean he wouldn't count as a celebrity, but then I guess they don't do the Warrior Award anymore, do they?
No.
They stopped that in 2023. Huh? but they will have other people, I guess. That they usually have somebody that's like inducted as like a contribution to wrestling, which would seem right for Jim Johnston, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But then, yeah, I mean, I guess it just depends on how they decide to do it. But trying to think of how they've done it in the past.
Can I tell you the internal m- moment that I think is a no doubt?
Yeah,
Taker versus
immortal moment.
Mankind through the cage.
Yeah, because the immortal moment thing is new from
Yeah.
last year, right? So
Yeah,
and
it's a year or two old. Yep.
last year it was Brett versus Stone Cold in the no DQ. Um, so yeah, through the cage. I mean, or are they gonna? I mean, I don't know. Are they gonna do anything to talk about Hogan in some way? You know, since this is the first one since he passed.
I mean, that's probably the other big name instead of John, right?
Right.
Or how about this? The legacy inductee you can kind of do two this year: Pillman and Bray Wyatt.
Yeah, you could. That's another one too. Bray Wyatt. Whether or not you do Bray Wyatt, like I wouldn't do Bray and Cena. So maybe you do Bray first. While the Wyatt Six are still at least somewhat relevant.
Um, and don't forget, we still got Umaga out there.
Yeah.
So you know, um, but yeah, I mean, we could play a guessing game on that, right? Like of who they're gonna be and whatnot.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's hard to. It's always hard to know. So
For, for sure, for sure, for sure. But yeah, so that's all I had. Dan, did you have anything else?
I don't think so. I mean, I guess we're gonna get a little. We'll get a little bit of a break, I guess, from probably major developments in wrestling until we hit the new year, and then
Yeah, because
we'll
they're
be at
off,
the
right?
first SmackDown of the year, and we'll be there live, and it's allegedly going to be 3 hours, and we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, I'm pumped for it. I mean, obviously that's because I normally don't do much besides watch other shows with my wife on Friday. So if I have a 3 hour SmackDown to watch after I watch those shows, pretty much
Yeah,
set. Pretty much puts my weekend in a hell of a, you know, hell of a mood. So you know, uh, yeah. So until then, we'll probably take the week off and return when they return after the holidays, just to give everybody a little bit of a break. There may be some WWE 2K footage showing up on the Botch Wrestling Podcast YouTube channel or my own personal YouTube channel. Um, And there may be a few articles showing up on No DQ. Still working on ironing out the details, but we'll see where we go from there. But until then, keep watching wrestling. It's a hell of a time to have it. January is going to be big for TNA. Like we said before, AEW is not that far off from NXT, and Raw still going to be hot, and SmackDown's going back to 3 hours. So everything we've always wanted is right in front of us wrestling wise. So it's a great time to be a wrestling fan, and get back on WWE 2K if you have it. It's the updates have been great. The DLC has been great. A lot of the glitches are fixed. Just go enjoy the game over the holiday break to take a break from everything else going off in the world. So until then, folks, we'll see you in a week or two. Yeah, probably 2 weeks. That will be the break. So look for this on the Instagram page, Botch Wrestling Pod, on the Twitter page, same title, and on the YouTube page as well, Botch Wrestling Pod. Until then, like, comment, and subscribe. Please, it helps us a ton in the algorithm to beat all these subpar podcasts out of the way. But enjoy your holidays. Adios, folks.